Hey everybody, Mo Freakin back again. How you doing? Good to see ya. I got another video for you today. Have you ever been watching a movie and thought, wow, that's an interesting use of EDC? I wonder if there's other movies that have interesting uses of EDC. I have thought the same thing. And so I've made a short video compiling some of my favorites. So here's my top 5 videos of EDC uses in film. And we're in the call room. So we do have a little bit of medical stuff here to talk about as well with one of these. So let's get to it. I have just a slightly using a scoring method for these. I said, hey, look, how much does it impact the plot and how good is the tool? How good does it work? So using those two scoring methods, I've rated these from worst to best or least to greatest. But these are all great movies. These all have excellent Rotten Tomato scores. That was another one of my criteria. It had to be a really good movie. So first up, in a 3-way tie for third place, Jurassic Park. This is the movie where we have Sam Neill, breakout role for Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern. They are scientists who have been invited to go to a tropical island where they've reintroduced dinosaurs using dinosaur DNA. I can't believe I'm explaining Jurassic Park plot to you, but yet here we are. The eccentric billionaire who funded the thing, played by Richard Attenborough, brings his grandchildren, and they're all going to go on this tour of the island. And of course, everything goes awry. Dinosaurs break free. Plot ensues. What's the use of EDC? You're going to be watching it on the screen right now. We have them stopped here. They're outside of the T-Rex exhibit, powers out, and we get an explanation that...
Keep absolutely still. This vision's based on movement.
You know, the factuality of this is that it's probably not true. Like, we don't know a lot about brains of dinosaurs, but most likely scientists say that they probably had excellent vision with movement or holding still there. But anyway, in this movie, it's a little contrivance that then the girl gets in the back seat. Here's the EDC, this big bulky flashlight. Now, this gets marks down because like this isn't an EDC flashlight, but it's an interesting use of a flashlight in film. She's moving it around, so the dinosaur goes for them. Sam O'Neill gets out a flare, moves the flare around to get the attention of the T-Rex. He sees the movement over there. He chases him. And as he gets close to the wall, he throws the flare and stops, and the T-Rex goes for the flare. How good is the tool? I gave it a 2. And how much did it impact the plot? I mean, it impacted the plot. This terrible scene where this girl gets attacked by this dinosaur and saved by Sam Neill. I gave that a 3. So tied for third place. But this is, like I said, these are all excellent movies. 91% Rotten Tomato score on Jurassic Park. Go check it out. If you got a better flashlight use in movies, put it down in the comments. All right, next one in the tie for third place is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Again, I can't believe I'm going to explain the plot of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and yet here we are. Harrison Ford plays the titular Indiana Jones. His father, played by the iconic Sean Connery. They're looking for the Holy Grail. The movie's set in 1938 with the rise of the Nazis going on in Germany, and they're looking for the Holy Grail as part of Hitler's scheme to collect artifacts with great power, kind of going along the same lines of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Eventually, they get captured by the Germans, and they are in a castle trying to escape. They're tied back to back to a chair. Indiana Jones has a lucky lighter with a shamrock on it. He's trying to reach back and burn the ropes, burns his hand, throws a lighter, sets the place on fire. So now they're not only tied up, but they're also in flames. Is that a great use of EDC? I mean, if you think about it, a lighter is a good tool to have around to start fires, and maybe this would have worked, if you just be careful with it, but it ended up backfiring on them. So eventually they do get away. Some spoilers maybe. But then they end up catching up with the Germans who have the book, the map of the Holy Grail and all the clues, and they're in tanks. And so there's this tank fight where Indiana Jones is fighting on top and Sean Connery is in the tank captured. And he has a fountain pen, and he uses the pressure in the fountain pen to flip a switch and squirt ink in one of the captor's eyes, and that makes it able for him to escape.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Now, the reality of this pen is that it probably wouldn't be able to do this for a few reasons. And maybe it would squirt out, but not enough to eject and go in the guy's eye. But I don't know. Maybe you kind of whip it while you're doing it and streak some ink out at somebody, and maybe that would work. I mean, am I a fountain pen expert? I'm not. Is a pen pen and lighter good EDC? Yeah. Yeah, they're great EDC. I'm giving them a 3 on this one. And how they impacted the plot, I'm giving them a 3. All right, guys. You're thinking, is Steven Spielberg going to be the only one on this list? He's not in the next one, but he's in another one. This next one is going to surprise you. And it is a film on this list that has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score at this time, at least. So that's going to surprise you. This is Mitchell versus the Machines. Yes, the animated film from 2021 has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes score. And to tell you the truth, I've watched this movie a few times with my kids, and I really do quite enjoy it quite a bit. It's got that, the stuff that always hits me the hardest is the father stuff, father of 3 here. And that stuff always hits me hard, and I do enjoy that. And it has some of those feels in this movie.
Thanks, Dad.
How did you see that, buddy? My daughter, listen to me!
It has some excellent voice acting. I love Maya Rudolph as a mom. She's also mom in Big Hero 6. It's got Danny McBride as the dad Rick in this movie. Get me a break. The voice acting is off the charts in this film. It's got Olivia Colman as the evil AI. I hope that wasn't a spoiler, lo siento. It's got Eric Andre as this tech genius guy who builds these companion robots and, rogue AI, and they take over the world, and they start locking up all the humans in these pods. They have a scene where they are escaped from the robots in this convenience store. They said, let's build a barricade and kind of protect ourselves in this convenience store. And he says, well, let's pull out our number 3 Robinson screwdrivers. If you don't know what a Robertson screw, it's like a Phillips. Like if you don't know what Phillips is, that's like the star one. Like sometimes you have to say to your, 12-year-old son, like, hey, I need a screwdriver, bring me the Phillips. And he's like, which one's that one? I'm like, that's the star one. If you were to say, bring me a screwdriver, I want the Robertson, that's square. That's square. Like I would probably just call it square, but it's like a square. And he's had them not only given to all of his family, but they're all personalized. And they all go down the list and say how they got it, and it's pretty funny.
How could I forget? My anniversary present.
Or my sweet 16 gift.
Or what the tooth fairy left under my pillow.
Able to make a barricade with these screwdrivers. Now, where are they getting, how common are square head screws? They're not that common. Where are they finding all the screws for this? That's my question for this barricade. I'm happy for the screwdriver they all carry around. I carry around a screwdriver. I carry around my Leatherman. I carry around some bits. I'm a EDC dork, but where are they? I don't carry around screws to build a barricade. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe that's just, Chekhov's gun. We got to put some screwdriver somehow earlier in this movie so that we can do it at the end, which is the family gets captured. Sorry, spoilers. And they're in the pod. Happens to be right next to the tech billionaire who started all this. And he says, the only way you can escape from this is you just happen to have a number 3 Robertson screwdriver.
What kind of maniac has one of those in his pockets at all times?
A useful EDC tool to have a screwdriver, yes. To have a Robertson screwdriver, I give it a 1. But how it's affected the plot, it basically made it so that they could escape, and it was a big deal in the plot at the end. And so I would say I gave it a 4. Giving it an average of 3 ties it for 3rd place with the other ones. But highest Rotten Tomatoes score, I bet you wouldn't have guessed that. Number 2, also a very popular movie with a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is Catch Me If You Can. Another one directed by Steven Spielberg. The last one on our list, but there's only one more. This is starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Frank Abagnale Jr., who's a con artist kid who's only at 19, pretends to be a pilot and a doctor and a lawyer, and forges checks. And then he's chased by an FBI agent played by Tom Hanks, Agent Hanratty. This is super fun movie. So he's a kid. His father kind of teaches him, played by Christopher Walken, excellently. to be a little bit of a con man. He pretends to be a French teacher in high school for a little bit, gets in some trouble, but also gets away with it. You know what I mean? His parents get divorced, kind of throws him through a loop, starts writing bad checks, runs away from home, starts forging checks, starts pretending to be a pilot because he realizes pilots can write checks and cash them easier than just somebody you don't know. Anyway, all along, he kind of collects labels off of whatever, glasses, bottles, cans, and puts them in his wallet and just collects labels. And it's kind of a metaphor on money is just nothing. It's just paper. It's just images on paper to him. And he collects them in his wallet. Later in the film, Henrietta catches up to him in a hotel. Not 100% sure he's going to catch him there, but he happens to catch him in the room. But Leonardo DiCaprio is a slick guy. He's a con artist, and he says, actually, I'm from this other division of the government who's also been tracking this con artist. And we just happen to both catch him at the same time. Actually, my partner's downstairs, booking him right now. They look out the window. This blind guy's getting into a car, and he says, look, that's him. Hey, man, good job, and puts him in the car. And Tom Hanks is skeptical. He's got his gun drawn, and he's like, put away your gun. And Leonardo DiCaprio's like, hey, man, just put away your gun. I mean, I'm from this other government. It's fine. Here, look, here's my wallet. Hands him his wallet. And we all know that there's nothing in that wallet. All Tom Hanks has to do is open up that wallet. But Leonardo DiCaprio is so slick. He goes, I'm going to take this forging machine for evidence, and walks out of the room. And he says, well, what about your wallet? And he's no, just keep it. And so he gets down to his car, he gets away, and then Henrietta's like, oh, I can't believe we got away. And then he looks down at the wallet, and it's all those labels. And he gets away. So wallet, another EDC. And I gave this one an extra point. Is it a great EDC item? No, it's a bulky, bifold wallet full of stuff. I mean, if you keep that in your back pocket, it's going to give you back problems. I only give it a 3. But how it affected the plot and the metaphor of it being money and just labels and paper to him, I gave it a 4. So that bumps it up to second place. So for an average of 3.5. Number 1, not directed by Spielberg, but directed by Danny Boyle, another, top director of all time. This is 127 hours. I mean, a little problematic, with James Franco, but there's a lot of great work done in this movie. It's mostly him on screen. So if you can't stand the guy, you're not going to want to watch this movie. It's basically him the whole time. But I think it's an excellent movie, and I appreciate all the work that was done behind the scenes for it and the actual story, because it's a true story. Whereas Catch Me If You Can, going back to Catch Me If You Can for a second, has, billed as a true story, but later on has been shown that, all this stuff is really hard to prove that he actually did as much as he said he did, and probably it's very exaggerated. And then Frank Abagnale says, no, it's all true. And no, nobody's going to tell you nobody's going to admit that I faked him out for years, So yeah, they're only going to say that it never happened. But it doesn't look like maybe a lot of it did happen quite like it did in the movie. But this 127 hours, I believe, is a lot more realistic. And so it's crazy to think about that. This one has a lot more medical stuff in it too that we're going to get into. Call Room, remember? So this one came out in 2010. It was produced, written, and directed by Danny Boyle. This is a Danny Boyle production, but it was based on a book and the true story as the canyoneer Aaron Ralston. We see him getting ready to go on a camping trip. And he's grabbing water, and he's grabbing Gatorades, and he is reaching for his Swiss Army knife in his storage box up here, and he can't quite find it. And so we're like, oh, he's going to need his pocket knife at some point. And he's not going to have it because he leaves it behind. And a Swiss Army knife that's a pretty dang good EDC. Do I carry a Swiss Army knife? I do. I carry at all times with me all the time. This is the fingernail clipper Swiss Army knife. I just feel like I need a nail clipper in an emergency on me when you get a hangnail. I just can't stand it. I need that right away. And I also don't carry a scissor anywhere else. So it also comes with a scissor, a little knife, and a nail file. And this is the scissor I use if I ever need a scissor. He drives to Canyonlands, and he's going to go down this Blue John Canyon. We see flashbacks of his mom calling him, and he doesn't tell her where he's going. He goes to this canyoneering store where he works, and he doesn't tell his friend where he's going. So first off, his big mistake is he doesn't tell anybody where he's going. He forgot his Swiss Army knife. I don't know. You should tell people where you're going. That's probably the big takeaway from this movie is tell people where you're going. canyoneering down a canyon, checks a boulder, jumps on it a bunch. It doesn't seem like it's moving. He's kind of flipping around and moving around trying to get down this slot canyon. He's using his arms as his leg to kind of shimmy down. And he reaches up, and although that boulder was steady when he stood on it, when he goes to grab it like this, it rolls. He falls down into the canyon, and the boulder gets caught on his right arm, between his arm and hand and the side of this slot canyon. He's tries a few things, but he is chipping away at the rock with this multi-tool he has. It's a generic looking, no details on the brand name of it because probably doesn't have a brand name. Multi-tool is kind of a Leatherman knockoff. The blade's not even sharp. You see him, before he even starts trying to chip away at anything, it's not sharp. And then he realizes that as he's chipping away, his hand is somewhat supporting the rock. And so even if he chips more and more away, the rock just keeps pushing down on his hand more and more. So that's futile, but he still does it quite a bit. He tries to set up a pulley system and try to use his body weight to pull the rock off of him. For a true pulley system, you need frictionless wheels and things. He's just kind of using his carabiners and things like that he brought for climbing. And the rope is not rigid because it's climbing rope, so it has some give and things like that. So he has a headlamp that he uses, and he tries to conserve the battery. As water he tries to conserve, finds that he can use the cover of the straw on his camelback type thing to make a tourniquet on his arm. And he does do a pretty good tourniquet where he makes a windlass, which is where he ties a knot and then ties a knot around the carabiner so that it makes a windlass and tightens it down. You can't just tie a knot and pull it real tight and make a tourniquet. You have to turn it. You have to make a windlass with a stick. All these cat tourniquets, they all come with a stick that twists like this to cinch down the circle and twist it down like this to make a true tourniquet. He doesn't have a whistle. That's it. You see him screaming quite a bit, and at the end he's lost his voice when he's trying to scream for help at the end. A little whistle attached to somewhere on your body where you can have it to whistle for rescue help if something like this was to happen, maybe would be helpful too. Tell people where you're going and carry a whistle. My Camelback has a little whistle built into the cross strap right here, and my kids do too, I think. So I think it's more common. Kind of cool. They're not super loud. Maybe invest in a louder whistle, which I have that too. All right. Eventually, after he's run out of food, he's run out of water, his last resort, he says, nobody's coming for him. But then he has a vision of him having a son, and he says, all right, I got to live to have this son. So he determines he's going to cut off his own arm. He tries to cut his arm with the multi-tool. The blade is too dull. It won't cut his skin. You see him break a bone. You see him put all of his weight on it and break his bone. Then he does it again because your forearm has two bones in it that he had to break both of them. You have the radius that's on the thumb side, and then you have the ulna that's on the other side. Then he's got an awl. In his generic multi-tool, he has an awl. We just are all talking about the Wave Alpha coming out with an awl, the sharp awl. And that's his backup blade. We also talk about, having two blades on your knife and having one that you keep super sharp. So used his awl to cut the flesh and nerves in his arms. Eventually cuts his arm off, and he falls away from the rock with no arm, and he's free. And it's kind of an amazing moment because you see him stuck on this rock the whole movie. What score did I give this one? 4 and 4 because it got an average of 4. Just awesome uses of EDC and just super affected the plot. I mean, how else would he have gotten away? All right, everybody. That was my top 5 uses of EDC in movies. Hope you liked it. What movies did I miss? What's your favorite use of EDC in movies that you've seen? If you're interested in more of this pop culture EDC content, I have a playlist down below. I got more videos like this coming with movies and music. So stick around and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye. I gotta go back.